Hello and welcome to Artist Spotlight. Today's artist is a Nashua artist named Monique Sakellarios and her gallery Maison de l'Art. Let's go have a look.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Monique. My name is Monique and I paint in oil. I am an Impressionist.
Good morning, Monique.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
So Monique, how long have you been here in this gallery in Nashua?
A little over 8 years.
And do you find that you get a lot of visitors to the gallery?
It depends on the day. Some days nobody will come in, and then it seems like if there's someone in here, everybody wants to get in here. So some days I'm very busy and some days I'm not. The days that I'm not busy, I get to paint more. The days that people come in, I enjoy that. I love the company. I love getting to know people. Have a lot of repeat customers. So it depends on the days. It's not jam-packed. I'm not on Main Street, so I do get some traffic, but not a lot of it.
And you had mentioned painting, so you paint here in the gallery.
Yes. Comes, I interrupt my painting, I get up, I talk to them, I help them if they're looking for something. So it works.
And what kind of painting do you do? I notice a lot of different art here on the walls. What paintings are yours and what kind of painting do you do?
Okay, these paintings over there are mine, and some are on this wall too, and if you are familiar with my style, you can easily recognize them. It's Impressionism.
Impressionism.
Impressionism. People tell me over and over that I paint like Monet. Actually, I don't at all.
Well, what does Impressionism mean?
It means you get an impression of a painting without detail. In other words, the viewer will participate in determining what they're looking at. Sometimes people will say to me, what flower was this? And I say, what does it look like? And if they say they're roses or irises, I say, well, that's what they are. It does, to me, I like the viewer to participate. I remember doing a painting one time. It was a small painting. It was a kid on a bicycle doing the paper route. And you could tell exactly what he was doing. But if you brought a magnifying lens and you were looking through it, you would not see any detail. I mean, you can look at my paintings. There's no detail. It's an impression, whether it's this one. I also like to catch a glimpse of everyday life for a lot of people. Like he's going fishing, she's going to the market, she's going to be gardening, and so on. I don't like things that are grandiose. I will not paint a gorge, or, you know, I don't like grandiose stuff. I like intimate little pieces of life. A lot of my paintings are from Hollis, because Hollis, a beautiful town. This, for instance, is the vineyard.
Now, is that a painting of a photograph of the vineyard, or did you paint that?
Sometimes I paint on location, but you can tell that if I have to be at the gallery, I can't be out there painting. So some paintings are done on location, like this one here. This is the road next to motif number 1 in New Hampshire, which is the Ice House in Hollis. That I painted on location. I am not going to be in the middle of a snowfield painting, so this was done from a photo. Sometimes they're done from memory, from imagination. I remember something, like I have some fields over there which you cannot see right now. They're lavender fields.
Oh, I see them from here,
or poppy fields. These are painted from memory. They're Provence, they're California.
It does, it looks like France.
Yeah, they're Italy. Well, actually, people always say to me, and where was that in Europe? Sometimes it is in Europe. Sometimes it's Amherst or Nashua. But for some reason, they always think that what I'm painting is Europe, but it isn't. Some is Europe, some is the Caribbean. Wherever I go is what I paint.
And how long have you been painting?
Oh, I have to think how old my youngest son is. I think I've been painting for 28 years.
For 28 years?
Full time.
Full time?
Yes.
And did you go to school to learn how to paint?
I went to Leonardo da Vinci School of Art. First of all, I started taking painting lessons, and then my teacher told me, you know, before you paint, you have to learn how to draw. So I went to Leonardo da Vinci School of Art, and I did 3 years of, first year was from statues, and it was portraits, it was busts. And we learned how to shade and get proportions and things like this. Second year was same thing, but it was the whole figure, and it was from live models. And it was also in charcoal, so there was no painting. Third year, I did advertising. In other words, we had a project. Let's say they told us do a poster for bottle manufacturer, or you know, a button factory, or you know, different things. And
right,
so
right.
we had to, and you really at this point you had to make it up. And then when I started painting, I developed my own style.
Your own style.
This is not something that anyone taught me how to do. This
Now,
is
did you
something
have a
that
particular artist at the time that you emulated in some way to
can't say
learn
that.
from, or
I started with realism and portraits.
with realism and portraits?
And portraits, I know, which is something I still do. Not realism, but portraits. I still do portraits. And then after a while, I thought, what I really like is the Impressionists, and I want to do Impressionism. And so I switched, which was very hard to do.
Do you have a favorite artist?
Not that I emulate, but I think the best artist is John Singer Sargent.
John Singer Sargent.
I just love his work, and I don't paint like him. When I go to the museum and I look at the Impressionists, some of them I think, I'm looking at the painting, I'm saying, it's not really that great. But I like the feeling. I like
how it makes you feel.
Yeah. You know, some realistic work is so realistic, you don't even see brushstrokes.
That you can't see any mark of the artist.
And I like to feel the personality of the artist. I like to feel that this is not a photo, this is a painting.
That there was a process involved.
I like to feel the personality of the artist.
Now, when you paint one of these landscapes, what is your main intention?
I want the viewer to feel good. I want the viewer to say, I wish I was there. I would have liked to be there. And I hear that from people all the time. They say to me, oh, I want to be there. That's what I really want. I want something that when you look at it, if you've purchased a painting from me, years from now, I still want you to feel good.
A lasting impression.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you look at my work, you feel good. And I don't want to do things that are, there's no message. I don't want people to say, oh, that was so difficult to do. I remember seeing a painting where there was 60 chairs piled up one on top of the other, and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, oh, that was so complicated. But you know what? If I look at this, I really don't want to give it a second look. It's going to give me a headache. So it's not what I'm trying to accomplish. I'm trying to make the viewer feel good.
Feel good. And what kind of paint do you use?
It's oil.
Oil.
I try not to use anything toxic. I don't use turpentine. I use walnut oil as a medium because, as you can see, I have no ventilation in here.
Yeah.
And besides, I don't want to be breathing. I don't even own turpentine. So to clean my brushes, I use Murphy's oil soap. Keep going until the brush is clean. Then I will, rinse it and get all the soap out. And it leaves my brushes nice and soft and clean.
Now, you had mentioned that you use oil paint. What is what's the medium, or what makes it flow onto the canvas? Yeah.
That's,
What do you use?
It's alkyd walnut oil.
What's alkyd?
Alkyd is something that they add to the oil to speed up the drying, because if you're just using oil, it might take 2-3 months to dry.
So never linseed oil or.
You're not supposed to use linseed oil by itself. Usually, when mediums are made with a mix of linseed, turp, and varnish. And the reason is that the varnish will help it dry fast.
Right.
Actually, if you use walnut oil by itself, it's going to take an awfully long time to dry. So that's why it has alkyd in it. In the winter time, it will dry slowly. In the summer, it dries faster. Actually, I could if I wanted. I don't do it. But this has a cover. And when I'm done for the day, if I want to save what's left of the paintings, I can cover it and put it in the freezer.
In the freezer?
In the freezer, and it will stay fresh forever.
Huh.
Cold because it's
oil.
oil.
That's a good trick.
Yeah.
Where did you learn that?
Experience.
It's from experience.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
In the summertime, if you're painting on canvas, it will dry a little faster because it can breathe. I paint most of the time. I paint on Masonite unless I'm doing a very large painting, in which case I use canvas. Or if I'm doing a demo, painting on canvas is so much easier. Masonite is wonderful. You get nice results. There's a lot of shine. It's more difficult to paint because it's very slippery. So when you're putting the paint on, it doesn't really stick.
Because there's no teeth
Yeah,
to it.
It doesn't grab the paint. So
now, what is Masonite? Is it a type of wood?
Yeah, it's a pressed board. It's compressed wood particles. I don't know what it is.
I see.
But you have to treat it. You can't use it the way it comes from the hardware store. You put a coat of gesso, let it dry. Gesso is an Italian word for chalk, which it will isolate the board from the painting, so the oil of the paint does not go through onto the board. So you put one coat of gesso, let it dry, sand it very lightly, apply another coat. The gesso should be also put on the edges and on the back to protect from moisture.
So gesso the entire board?
Gesso the entire board. And then I paint on red. I prime my canvas with cadmium red acrylic, because it dries fast. And everything I paint is on red, like this. This is the color I use. This is just a...
Now why red?
Old masters used to prime their canvases with earth tones like burnt sienna, raw umber, earth tones. And when I started painting, I painted on white, like the Impressionists. And then when I read that the masters used to do that, I said, I'm intrigued, let me try it. And I liked it because you're not faced with a white canvas, and it gives you a middle value. I like that, but I thought it's dull, and it makes the painting darker. So I experimented with different colors. I tried yellow and purple and blue and red. I loved the red. I tried different kinds of red, alizarin crimson, cadmium red deep, cadmium red medium, light, and I settled on the medium. It's more difficult because all the colors that you put on the red are going to be affected by the red. Yellow ochre will look green.
Will look green.
It will look green. It's amazing. It's amazing what happens to the colors when you put them on red or any other color. I'm sure if I was painting on purple, my colors would be affected as well. I think the color that it affects the most is the green.
So you have to learn over time to work with the underpainting to get to the results. Yes, some people hate it. I, like 2-3 times a year, I'll give a workshop, and some of my students say they like it, rarely. Most of them will say, I hate it. It confuses me, it changes all the colors. So I tell them, okay, don't. If you want to prime your canvas, then prime them with burnt sienna, which is a nice, a nice color to be painting on. So burnt sienna is more forgiving to the palette than
it won't
than
change.
red?
It won't change the colors. Might change them a little bit, but it won't change. Red will absolutely change all the colors.
Now, what about an underdrawing? Do you do anything with charcoal over the?
No, because my paint would be picking up the charcoal, and that would make it messy.
So you go right into
I draw if it's a
applying the
landscape
paint.
with paint. I draw with paint. And
So
I
you
will-
would draw it with paint.
with
okay.
paint. Now, if I'm doing something that's very intricate, like the commission that I'm doing, the St. Francis Xavier Church, I had to do a drawing because it's a very
It's
complicated.
too exact.
It's too exact,
Yeah.
and so I did that with a pencil, and I had no choice.
Do you ever do drawing? Do you draw at all, or
For my landscapes, no. Just for fun?
just for drawing, for the sake of drawing?
No,
you know,
no,
pencil
I can't say that I
drawing or
do.
charcoal,
No,
or-
no.
So you're primarily a painter.
I love colors.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
What about pastel or anything like that?
When I started, I tried everything.
Yeah.
I tried watercolor, which was not me, because with watercolor you have to be precise. You can't be impulsive, and I'm impulsive, so it was not something I wanted to do. Pastels I do like, but I don't like the fact that it's chalk, and there's dust, and again it's toxic.
Right.
And I think people who paint pastel should wear a mask, which I can't stand.
Yeah.
So, and they're very delicate. If you move them, you have to be careful because the dust will come off from them.
Yeah.
So no, I like oils. They are sturdy, they're sensual, they're powerful. I like oils. Okay, I look for two things when I represent an artist. I look for excellence of work and affordability. And that's my job, is to discover artists who are wonderful and that everybody can afford. This artist, for instance, her work is fabulous, and you can see the cherries here.
Now, who is this artist here?
This is Karen Brussel, and I love her work. It's very affordable and it's very beautiful. This is Paula Mignonelli. She is from Massachusetts. Also, the reason I pick different artists also is because they do different things. She does birds, for instance. I don't do birds. I don't have anybody here doing birds. So I'm looking for a variety. The butterflies here are very interesting, and the dragonflies.
Yeah,
These
those are pretty.
made from recycled soda bottles.
Are they really?
It's an artist from Nashua. She hand paints them. They come with a sticky back, and if you place them on a window, it looks like stained glass. Her name is Anne-Marie Laney. She is originally from France.
Ah.
And this
They're pretty.
artist is from Maine. Love his work. When I saw his work, I said, oh, this is like Salvador Dali. And he says, yes.
Yeah.
His name is John Burr. He said, that's Burrism.
Burrism.
Burrism. In other words, it's realistic, but at the same time, it isn't. This is an artist from Amherst. I love her colors. She does abstracts, beautiful colors. I'm the first gallery that she's showing her work in. Her name is Gail Sergowitz. This is an etching. It's by Mary Margaret Sweeney. It's also hand-colored. This is a
Now, what's an etching?
it's a process done by an artist. I think it can be done in different ways. One of them is on a copper plate where the artist scratches the images out, then pours the ink, and then does the print. So it's all done by the artist. It's not a photographic print. And this is the artist proof, which means the first few prints. And these are the most valuable. This is Susan Bliss, and Susan is highly collectible. It's terracotta with a porcelain glaze. She's got a style of her own. It's a little bit like Modigliani, if you want.
Yeah.
This is Tanya Prather, and this is silk, and it's a organic print on silk. It's a fabric dye on silk. And I love her work. It's abstract in design. This is an artist from Hollis. Her name is Sho Norcott, and she does those beautiful flowers. This is watercolor.
It's very Georgia O'Keeffe.
In a way, yes.
In a way, yeah.
His name is John Chang, and he has a unique way of combining prints and originals. This is a print, but this little piece here is an original, and it's painted on silk.
Huh. Beautiful.
Yes. This is Rockport, and it's the most painted, most photographed location in Massachusetts.
I was going to say, yeah, it looks like Gloucester,
yes.
the Gloucester area.
It's Rockport.
Yeah.
Yes. This gentleman here, I have a hard time sometimes remembering names. All he does is paintings about pigs. He never sells his originals. This is a print.
That's a print.
It's a print. And he's got a wonderful sense of humor. Okay, I remembered his name. Dwayne Hammond. For instance, he called this one Vincent Van Gogh. And it's, you know, I mean, he's a wonderful artist. You can see how well he reproduced.
Missing the ear and everything.
Missing the ear. This is the work of Dominique Bouteau. These two pieces. Dominique is also a Nashua artist, and she has exhibited and won awards all over the world. She has also exhibited in the Louvre.
In the Louvre?
Yes, in the Louvre. Now, these are my abstracts.
So this is your work too.
This is my work too.
This is very different than your landscapes.
Different. And it's for me it's a pleasure to switch. Every once in a while I feel like doing an abstract. I indulge myself.
What about this one here in particular? Can you tell us a little bit about how that came about?
Actually, it looks like foliage, but
it really does.
It was not my intention. I just started with splashes of color, and then I decided it was too vague, so I started outlining, and then before I knew it, looked like foliage. But this was not my intent. This again started as an abstract, and as I'm going, I'm saying, "Well, looks like flowers."
Oh,
but,
really?
So
it started to look like flowers. So
yeah.
So you
now
just
this
went with
one is again started like just spots of color, and when I was done, I said, "Wow, it looks like a city."
Now, you had mentioned before with your landscapes you wanted to imbue some sort of feeling. Do you have the same intention with your abstract paintings?
Not really.
Not really.
They're just about color.
They're about color.
It's color.
So it's more an exploration of what you can do with color.
With color, yes, yes. It's
very good.
It's very liberating to do an abstract. You don't have any restrictions.
Because it's not constrained by a particular object or a place. It's open to interpretation.
And it is very humbling, I have to say. It's not easy to do. Sometimes when I'm doing an abstract, I think as when you are taking a yoga class and they tell you empty your mind. If a thought comes in, acknowledge it and send it away. Well, it's the same thing with an abstract. You can't have any ideas in your head. You cannot think of anything. It just happens. And it's very hard. It's very difficult. I mean, anybody can just throw some color in, but to make it look harmonious and
to make it work
is not easy.
Very good.
This is a piece of furniture that was built by Gary Henkel from Hollis, who builds beautiful furniture. It was built exactly this size. I wanted it exactly that way. It fits my microwave. I can put all my photos and art supplies in those drawers. When I open this drawer, it gives me a table where I can place my palette. And this is what I paint. I sit here, my easel goes there.
Now, you mentioned one of the drawers is your art supplies. Can we see
my photos?
What you use for supplies?
This is my photos.
There's your photos.
Okay. Oh, this is such a mess. Here is some of my art supplies, which are out right now, so I will. This is not very impressive. This is not very impressive. Here are
it's the sign of a working artist.
Well,
I mean, if they were all perfectly right from the store and not used, you know, they're obviously used, and you're an experienced painter. Now, is there a Is there an order to where you have
I know that
your
some
paint?
artists will start with warm colors and slowly go to cool. It would bore me very much to do that. So there is absolutely no order. I use very few colors. Most of my colors will get mixed, and this is where I mix all the colors. Now, before I start painting today, this is all going to be removed. This is my trusted blade.
Oh, so you scrape it right off.
Yes, this is a piece of plexiglass. And I will just remove all the color and start all over again. This is where I put my oil.
Now, do you use transparencies in your painting, or is
Yes, I try to have all my colors being transparent.
Ah.
Because I want to use the red background, and you can see it. You can see the red background showing through. This is a portrait I did of a young girl playing the piano. This was a commission. And this is the photo that I had to work from. You can see the photo has been used and abused. But anyway, that was very interesting to do.
So you talked about the underpainting of
Yes.
red.
Yeah.
So it has sort of a red feel to it.
It gives it a glow. People always say to me, it looks like you're painting I lit from the back. I think it's the red paint. And you can see it. I let it show through a little bit, not too much. But you can see the red coming through here.
So this red here,
It's
you
the
let
yes.
show through
Yeah, it's
from
the
what you
background
put.
that
Okay.
showed a little bit.
So that's not applied on top of.
No, on top of this,
I
I
see.
applied burnt sienna and black. But I let the red show through.
I see.
Because I wanted it. The piano was brown, and
Huh.
I wanted the red to show through. In some paintings, it'll show more than others, the red, depending. You can see it very clearly here. Can you see the red showing through?
Oh yeah.
I use the red. It's a garden in Amherst. I might have added more flowers than were there, but that's artistic license. It's the field of poppies, and I love to paint fields, all sorts of fields. Lavender fields in Provence. And the painting underneath it is on tile. It's a reproduction on tile, and it's the Nashua Symphony, the rehearsal. So a cheap way to travel is to go around my walls and run around the world.
So Monique, what is the name of your gallery here?
It's got a French name. It's called Maison de l'Art, which, if you translate it word per word, means house of art. If you want, it means also the art place. And I chose a French name because that's my background, and also Nashua has a lot of French-speaking people. And I think I wanted to give it a French name. I always tell people, this is the Parisian boutique with the New Hampshire prices. And it is so.
I like that.
Yeah.
And how can people locate you other than your gallery? Do you have a website?
Yes, I do. It's Monique Sakellarios. I'll skip the www. If you just type Monique Sakellarios, you're going to see Monique Sakellarios, Impressionist artist. And there's the story of my life.
And is your gallery hours on your website, or
no,
what
my website is just for me.
What are your hours for your gallery?
I have difficult hours. I'm here Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 3, unless I'm not here. So if somebody wants to come, they can call me. My number is 603-879-9888, and I can always meet them here. I live a few minutes away, and I'm always available on appointment.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
And that's it for Artist Spotlight with Monique Sakellarios. Until next time, goodbye.
If you'd like to be featured in Artist Spotlight, go to artistspotlight.org.